Clive, you've always been a front man, have you, or have you been behind the scenes? I mean, you're very, very live performer. Have you always been that sort of person?
I started off as a DJ in clubs, and then someone bet me I couldn't form. They said, "Oh, all you can do is play other people's records. You couldn't do it yourself." And they had a gig 2 weeks later in Ravensbourne Art College. So me and the guitarist who was with me then all the way through Spirit up until about late 90s, Steve, we went to the pub. Doctor, that was my DJ name, Doctor and the Medics. And we literally went on, we played White Horses by Run White Horses, the theme tune. These boots are made for walking. A couple of our songs that we'd written literally in the pub. And we blew the other band off. So it's all I've ever done. I've never pertained to be, I've got any musical talent. Some would say singing is stretching credulity, but yeah, just literally, and we literally said, someone came up and said, "Do you want to do another gig?" And we said, "Well, let's do that." And I said, "Look, the plan is," people kind of say, "Oh, did you plan this, or did you plan this, or have you ever, we've never made a plan. The only plan we made was Steve and I said, well, let's just do these gigs and see how far we can take it. And I think that's still the plan.
And you take the piss out yourself being a one-hit wonder. That's obviously deliberate and a ploy for your career. I mean, some people do have one hit and don't make a play about it. I mean, they do greatest hits album based on one hit, don't they? But you're taking the piss out yourself, which is very English, let's face it.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you say to 99.9% of the people, Doctor and the Medic, Spirit in the Sky, and that's it. And do you know what? That's brilliant. That's absolutely fantastic. And I suppose actually what illustrates this the best is that during lockdown, I play what I wrote. Now, I've written a theatre show. Well, it wasn't meant to be a theatre show. It was meant to just be two of us, me, a guitarist and backing tracks, going into kind of comedy clubs with socially distanced tables. And it's me playing all just the Medic songs throughout our career, if you like, and me talking and tales. And it's quite a funny show. We did a couple of them. But what's happened is it's been taken up and we're playing, Portsmouth Guildhall, Fairfield Halls. We're being booked in proper theatres now with this show. And it's called The Doctor Will See You Now - Life as a One-Hit Wonder. And that's it. And that's what people, what's the point in me pretending I'm anything else? If we hadn't, do you know what? We wrote a record a few years ago that was so good. I told the band we couldn't release it. I said, because we'd have another hit and our career would be finished. So
very, very good. Well, I was talking a couple of days ago about Joe Fagin, who did That's Being All Right. And he released the greatest hits album in 1996. It just makes you wonder.
Oh, yeah.
People do that.
Sorry, the other side of the coin is the people who, I mean, our income, 99% of our income over the whole career has been from live giggings. We're a live band and we put on a show and that's it. And obviously part of that show has got to be Spirit in the Sky, played the way people want to hear it, because they've paid, they've invested their time and their money to watch you, so you respect them. But the one thing, like the other side of that coin, is the people who go on who've had maybe one or even two hits and they don't want to play it, or they decide to do a reggae version of it. I just think that's wrong. Yeah,
absolutely. Understood too. I mean, John, you've had more than a couple of hits. Let's put it that way. But talking about playing live, I mean, Mike, you've been live on the radio for years and TV instead, of course. Any fuck ups you can think of? Any time that you really have boobed? Or John, or any of you actually, just think any time that you've really screwed up live and thought, oh my God, what have I done? Career over.
Yeah, I mean, screwed up many times, booed many times, worried about it, never. No, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I played, I do live gigs with a guitar, live stuff on the radio, live on TV, live on stage, acting sometimes. I think the only time that I really get worried about it is when I have to learn lines for a play or a musical. And I'm convinced I don't know them. I've been on stage since the age of 8 doing plays and stuff like that. I was in Midsummer Night's Dream when I was 8. And my mother caught me in the bathroom one day. She came and she said, she obviously standing there for a few minutes. She said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh," and I had a bowl full of freezing water and I had my head in it. And she stood watching me. And she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I don't want to be Lysander in Midsummer Night's Dream because I don't know the words and I'm frightened and everyone's going to laugh at me. And I want someone to stand in for me." And so I was trying to catch a cold. And only on a par when my mother caught me a couple of years later shaving my legs because I didn't want to grow up in the same bathroom. But that was all part of my childhood. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, anything that goes wrong on live TV or radio, I just treat it as a joke. I just say, "Oh, I can't read my own writing." So it's never bad. I think it's only bad if you're embarrassed about it. If you're not embarrassed about it, it doesn't matter. I remember one Saturday Superstore, we had a video thing, and I'd never wore an earpiece. I hated earpieces. I found them an encumbrance. And they were trying to tell me something, because it's live. And I didn't know what they were trying to say, you know, and afterwards they said, "Earpiece, you need an earpiece." And I couldn't work out. I was trying to introduce something we just played. I was trying to introduce it again and they couldn't play it again. Eventually I had to get up, walk across to Cliff Pinnock, the floor manager, and say, "What is it? I'm doing something wrong quite clearly." And he said, "Yes, this is what you're trying to do and we can't do it." "Okay," I said, and plodded back to my seat and sat down. So yeah, I mean, I think anything that goes wrong. I remember doing a charity gig, Princess Anne was in convulsions because I came down the stairs in my tux trying to look cool and fell flat on my face on the stage. And afterwards, Princess Anne, she said, "Oh, far and away the best bit of the show. Absolutely marvelous." So people love it, as we know. When things go wrong, people absolutely love it. And I don't care. The allegedly apocryphal, but I hope not, Diana Dawes returning to her village in Swindon to open a fete, and the vicar the night before, because her real name is Diana Fluck. And the vicar was going around saying, "Diana Fluck, Fluck, I mustn't get it wrong, I mustn't get it wrong, darling, Diana Fluck. We welcome back Diana Fluck to the village." And allegedly he went on and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, she grew up here, you all knew her as Diana Clunt." No!
Oh. Brilliant, brilliant.
I remember, Steve, doing the Top of the Pops. Well, you've probably seen it. I don't remember what song it was. But Alan Lancaster, as you know, lives in Sydney, Australia, and he was out there. He's been there for donkey's years. Anyway, Colin Johnson, management at the time, said, "Well, come on, you've got to fly over to do Top of the Pops. It's gone to number one." I can't remember what bloody song it was. So Colin Johnson suggested, "I've got an idea, guys. Get Alan to send his bass, his stage gear, you know, his jeans and t-shirt and jacket, studded jacket, all that. Sent it all over. What are you doing?" He said, "I've got a dummy, right? You don't dress the dummy." And we're at Top of the Pops in the afternoon, going to go run through the song. And Colin Johnson was in the rafters at the top of the studio with some pulling the strings, right? And it's hilarious, man. It's Alan's stage left to me. He's doing this, you know. And anyway, cut a very long story short. Everyone has seen it, right? And Alan Lancaster's granny said to Alan's mum, his mum lived in Peckham, right? Great place, Peckham. And yeah, she said, "Oh, hello, it's me. Hello, mum, all right? What's the matter? I saw Alan on telly last night." "Yeah, they were on last night, Top of the Pops, yeah. I'm a bit worried, darling. He didn't look too well, did he?" It was a bloody dummy, for God's sake. Anyway, it was true story, really funny. But yeah, and yeah, I suppose to fly over from Sydney to do one show, I suppose.
And John, have you ever really screwed up on stage? I mean, have you tossed a stick in the air and dropped it, or anything stupid?
I think I have probably dropped a stick, and you know, I'm trying to think back to donkey's years ago when you probably, you know, you to start a number, it's hit my cue to start a song, and I've counted the wrong song or something like that, and people look at you, "What the fuck?" Oh, sorry. No, it's worrying, that is, you know. But I tell you what, it has happened a few times. You know, you have a set list. I'm sure you got one on stage, Clive, all your songs. And you know, and say it's on my cymbal stand and it fell off, you know, it's on the floor and I'm playing away, I'm looking down, oh shit, I can't see it. And then they dim the lights or something, and you think the next song you have to count it in, and it's like, Then fortunately, the drum tech saw it and put it right way up. But that's dreadful because if you can't see, you can't see. Or they turn the lights out when Alan or Francis are counting the song in, and you can't hear them. Then we did a reunion, so we used the in-ears. You know, that was pretty strange to get used to after a while, but I liked it. The only thing I found is that when you finish a song, you finish that, you can't hear the audience applause. They don't like.
We can't hear the audience applaud when we haven't got them in.
Quiet night.